Monsanto, and they have direct links to the Journal of Biological Sciences. I looked that up, one of the most prestigious in the world. But I've literally seen hundreds of confirmed studies on this group of corn alone. It is MON 863 and NK 603 that grows a live pesticide in the corn so bugs won't eat it. Well, what do you think poison does? Like liquor, it eats your liver. Well, it's the same thing with this. Monsanto GMO corn linked to organ failure study reveals. In a study released by the International Journal of Biological Sciences analyzing the effects of genetically modified foods on mammalian life, that's us, mammals, researchers found that agricultural giant Monsanto's GM corn is linked to organ damage in rats. It's also the stuff killing the honeybees, because they'll still eat the pollen.
Einstein once said that if the bees were to disappear, that all humankind would follow.
The website Food Freedom reports that researchers in what is being described as the first ever and most comprehensive study of the effects of genetically modified foods on mammalian health have positively linked organ damage with consumption of Monsanto's GM maize. All three varieties of Monsanto's genetically modified corn were approved for consumption by U.S., European, and several other national food safety authorities. The Committee of Research and Information on Genetic Engineering studied Monsanto's 90-day feeding trials of rats. Monsanto has rejected the findings. Gilles-Eric Saralini, a molecular biologist at the University of Caen, who participated in the study, told Food Freedom, quote, "Our study contradicts Monsanto conclusions because Monsanto systematically neglects significant health effects in mammals that are different in males and females eating GMOs, or not proportional to the dose. This is a very serious mistake, dramatic for public health. This is the major conclusion revealed by our work, the only careful reanalysis of Monsanto crude statistical data." The study discovered other problems with Monsanto's conclusions, such as that when testing for drug or pesticide safety, the standard protocol is to use 3 mammalian species. Monsanto's studies only used rats, yet won approval in more than a dozen nations. Also, chronic problems are rarely discovered in 90 days. Most often, such tests run for up to 2 years. The researchers conclude that the raw data from all 3 GMO studies revealed that pesticide residues will be present in food and feed and may pose grave health risks to those consuming them.
We stood up to Monsanto, and it went to trial. It ended up the Supreme Court of Canada, where everything they came after me, they lost. They lost the case, but the Supreme Court ruled that Monsanto's patent on a gene is valid. It doesn't matter how it ends up in any life form, they own and control it. And that was a startling decision, is that even if you have your crop, organic farmer or conventional farmer, and your crop is contaminated, the amount of contamination doesn't matter. They own your seeds and plants, and if you use them, you're liable to a lawsuit under patent law. So that's what the case is all about, and that shows how Monsanto can get control over the seed supply and food supply through cross-pollination, direct seed movement, blowing in the wind or whatever. It doesn't matter how it gets there, the court's ruled. You don't own your seeds or plants anymore. So it would give them, the corporations now, total control over the seed supply, ultimately.
A day earlier, Krishnabai had buried her husband Daulat, who committed suicide.
He came home from the field and he collapsed. His mouth was smelling of pesticide, so we put him on a cart and took him to the hospital in town, but he died on the way.
Daulat Tekam leaves a young daughter, his 38-year-old widow, and her elderly father, who's... In an unmarked grave some 2 miles from where he lived, Daulat Tekam was laid to rest. He added 1 to a grim tally. Here in the Vidarbha region of central India, some 1,300 cotton farmers took their own lives in 2006. Besides monsoons and markets, farmers face another problem, Monsanto, according to Vandana Shiva. She's a nuclear scientist who became an anti-globalization activist 20 years ago.
Every seed that is in the market in cotton today is linked to one company or the other, licensed and controlled by Monsanto.
She says peasant farmers used to use natural fertilizers and pesticides, and they grew and saved their own seeds to plant the next year's crop. In the 70s, coaxed by the government and international aid donors, farmers began to use hybrid seeds bought in the store. These offer the promise of better yields and disease resistance, but they can require careful management, including chemical fertilizer and pesticides. More recently, genetically modified Bt cotton seeds were introduced by St. Louis-based Monsanto, licensed and sold under the names of well-known Indian seed companies. Bt seeds are patented, so farmers aren't allowed to grow and replant them. They must be bought every year from the seed companies, which market them with film stars and even Hindu deities, says Vandana Shiva.
They keep saying this is red disease, red disease. I really don't know why this is happening.
Andre is learning that his new crop is not as disease-resistant as the ad said. His is the classic saga in which many illiterate farmers eventually lose their land, says Vandana Shiva.
That innocent farmer is grabbed by the agent who says, here's a miracle seed, it's going to double your income, you're going to be a millionaire, put your thumbprint out here. The farmer has no idea what he's signing on to. The farmer has no idea that 2 weeks down the line he'll have to come back for pesticide. That when the leaves will start shriveling up, the agent will say, no, you also needed irrigation, we didn't tell that to you in the beginning, so take a tube well loan, and here's another loan.
The Monsanto company declined our requests for an interview. It did issue a statement that in part reads, while some may suggest that Bt cotton is to blame, the fact is that there are multiple social, economic, and environmental factors that make agriculture
According to the study, which was summarized by, and it goes through that, 3 varieties of Monsanto, GM corn, Mon 863, insecticide-producing Mon 810, and Roundup herbicide-absorbing NK603. See, these plants will live in poison because they absorb it, but then the poison's in it. Everything else is killed. We approve the consumption by U.S., European, and several other national food safety authorities. And it just goes into the effects. This is from the study. We're mostly concentrated in the kidney, liver function, the 2 major diet detoxification organs. And then it goes into how it hit other areas of the body, though. Jeez. Man, folks. I mean, I could Google right now, fluoridation of water, bone cancer, and literally thousands of studies over 40 years that it's giving people cancer. They absolutely know. Red alert, 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 red alert. You read about the Rockefellers and the heads of Monsanto. They have their own farms. I was watching a PBS special where the Duke of Edinburgh, Queen Elizabeth's husband, the father of Prince Charles, the admitted Nazi, he's a German Nazi, has his own giant farms and ranches, and they fly his food around all over the world. He only eats his food. I mean, they're obsessed with it. They are absolutely folks, they are poisoning your food and water to sterilize you and kill you. We're all in this together. Liberal, conservative, black, white, Hispanic, cop, non-cop. Get it through your head. And COINTELPRO just wants us all to fight with each other over left-right terms and to make us not trust each other. You know you're good. You know you're a patriot. Get out and warn people and get this stuff off our store shelves. Come on.